up and like,
What were you saying?
oh, this is like the best thing. I was like, it's asking me this. And when we can't meet in person, this is kind of like circling up and kind of feeling each other and like creating intentions of depth.
Absolutely. I love it. I love being able to meet up on Zoom because we could be anywhere in the world. All right, here we go. Let's see. Go live. This meeting is being live streamed. All righty. Everybody, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome tonight. We have a incredible guest, David Ahlgren, and just give him a little introduction. I met David when I was living in the Peace House. Oops, we're streaming from two different things. Here we go. Okay, we're still going. So I met David over in St. Petersburg, Florida, when I lived in a community called the Peace House. And we lived with 11 different people. There was a lot of people there. And of course, with people comes conflict. And we came into the situation where there was a big conflict. And so we needed somebody else to come in and be a mediator. And David, out of the kindness of his heart, came on over and helped us with the situation. So now we have David Ahlgren here, who is what I would like to call a specialist with expressing emotions and dealing with conflict. So David, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know what's going on and how you became a mediator?
Yeah, I would just say I'm just a human. And humans face conflict.
Yeah.
And when humans face conflict, we have choices. We can have harmony, or we can have disharmony, or we can have a pathway to harmony or a pathway to disharmony. And so I'm background, I grew up on the island of Guam in Southeast Asia, and I eventually came to the United States, and I am a restoration ecologist or permaculture educator. And I realized through some of my work that I can do all this work to restore the nature, like the trees and the plants. But until I get to a point where we as humans can find our harmony, not just with the trees, but with ourselves first, and then with each other, then the other things are going to collapse. So that's the basis of how I got into nonviolent communication. And when I approach people, such as yourself and your community at the Peace House, it was approaching it just as a human, being there as a person who's walked this path before and helped others to walk this path in a way that is towards harmony rather than disharmony.
I feel that. So how are you able, what was a deciding factor for you to get into this realm of life?
Well, as far as getting into permaculture, I went back to the food forest I planted as a child, and it inspired me to sell my software development company and jump into research and development. Had a 120-acre farm, did research, developed new methods of restoring deciduous forest, which is forest where the leaves fall from the tree. And I was patterning nature. And then I was asked to be a keynote speaker at the Northwest Permaculture Convergence. And I have lines of people wanting me to come teach and work and restore land using some things that nature taught me. You know, again, I'm just a human. And I did a huge project that was so successful, but it collapsed because the humans were not in harmony. And so when I said that, I was like, as a designer, I've been working on this whole water landscape and the trees all flowing together, but I didn't really factor in the biggest element, which is the humans. First, the human element of like each of us with ourselves, and then the human element of each other. And so I realized that was the missing link. And so I've committed to spending half of my research, development, and writing, and reading too, in listening to the patterns of human nature and trying to mimic those patterns and mirror those back to people. And one way I do that is offer myself as a nonviolent communication mediator anywhere I go, an event, my community, and I also try to encourage others to do the same thing. And you can do it with yourself, and you can do it with people around you.
Awesome. Yeah. I love how you were able to integrate nature into how you were able to integrate your different relationships. Like, most people think of nature as being separate, as human relationships. We're like, oh, well, that's like the woods, and humans are different, right? But it's cool how you're able to take that concept from working with plants to working with people. I love that. And
well, the trees speak so strongly to us everywhere, and they're doing a much better job than relating to each other than we are relating to each other. So if we can start listening to the trees, we might get a better idea than what our culture is handing us itself.
So what have you found about conflict and how you are able to mediate this conflict? Let's say like somebody's in a situation where conflict is rising and it's not able to be, fixed in a nonviolent way. You come in, and what are your tactics in order to help out the situation?
Well, there's lots of different methods, and I try to pick methods that mimic nature. One of them is called nonviolent communications, and it's also referenced as NVC. And I'm going to offer this. I have a cheat sheet that's like a PDF. On one side, it's nonviolent communication, and it goes through what I'm going to cover real quick with you. On the other side is the 4 Agreements, which is an amazing book that I hope if anyone hasn't read that, it's a great simple read. Anytime I feel like there's like turmoil in my life, I'm like, oh, like these are 4 agreements that I just kind of have as part of me, and they're on the back of my business card, and I make them as a pillar of my life. And let me go over those real quick before I go over NVC. One is be impeccable with your word, which means just tell the truth. Tell the truth to yourself and everyone else. The next one is don't take anything personally. You for yourself, don't take yourself personally. Don't make an assumptions. And the third one is do your best. And when we do these things, like most things that I have conflict within myself, I'm like, yeah, it's one of these. Yeah, I was taking that personally. Yeah, I was making an assumption.
David, can you go over that one more time, maybe a little slower so that I can?
Yeah.
Do you have like a mnemonic or anything to be able to memorize these?
Ooh, that's a good question. No, I don't. But you know what? That'd be an awesome thing for someone to come up with one. So be impeccable with your word. Basically, tell the truth.
Okay.
Don't take anything personally. Don't make any assumptions, and do your best. And if anyone ever goes to a place where I'm teaching, I always hand out business cards. Flip over the business card on the back as a cheat sheet, with both of these, and also has some other things like, hey, plant a tree together, which is a thing that bonds people. And it's like an element of like connecting ourselves and our relationships with nature. So yeah, going on to nonviolent communication, the first thing is we have to realize, let's just stop. If you feel conflict in your life, stop and realize, breathe for a second and just tell yourself, this is normal. Conflict happens. It's disturbance. Like when the buffalo go through the prairie and like run through, they cause conflict. They have a conflict with the grass and the dirt. But that conflict happens in a way that's natural, and it brings abundance, because where those buffalo come through, they also poop everywhere. And they pee everywhere. And that is the most fertile area for like years on end. So in the same way, how can we do that? So like our shit that's being passed around, like how can we turn this conflict into this abundance? So let's just say it's between me and you, Bo, and we're me and you are just just something's not right, made an assumption or something about you, and I took something personally. Well, there's these steps that we take in NVC that kind of work us through this. The first basis, again, is realizing conflict is a normal part of life. And if you were to like maybe even not write down these steps, but the essence of nonviolent communication is stopping and seeing the humanity and listening to the other person, and being deeply authentic. Oh, there's just thunder, right? As I said, authentic, the thunder roll. So deeply authentic. And then, and when you're deeply authentic, use the word vulnerable. And I argue most of the time is don't put yourself in relationships that are perpetually vulnerable. Who wants to be vulnerable? Put yourself in relationships that are perpetually authentic. And so transition from vulnerable into authentic. And some people kind of, mix those words together, but I would say like, hey, Bo, let's be authentic together. And at some point, me and you are not vulnerable because like I already shared with you the depth of my fear. So that, and then you took it and you like loved me through it. That's not vulnerable anymore, Bo. We're like, now we're just deeply authentic. Now it's like, no, it's not vulnerable with Bo. We're just like deep in authenticity. So the first thing is the whole element of nonviolent communication is to have a safe space to share your authenticity and it being a safe, you're not vulnerable. When we're following these things, the goal is to kind of create a safe space where people can share the depth and be heard, and then also hear the other person equally. There's no hierarchy. There's no one person over another. There's nobody, even if I'm there as a mediator, I'm just some dude that's sitting here that I'm like the lifeguard or the doula. That's just kind of like help bring this conflict that would normally just maybe call the cops or something like that, might actually turn out to be an amazing one. So the steps, I'll go over these steps real quick here. In the process of NVC, we stop and let's say I had something with Bo, and we just decide, hey, who wants to go first?
Again, is right. It's nonviolent communication, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Just making sure.
And then, so me and you are having a conflict, and if it was just me and you and there was no mediator, I'd just say, hey, Bo, what feels good for you? For us, each of us to go first, because it doesn't really matter. There's no winner or loser. We're all human. We're all here, and we're all like choosing to be together in love. The first thing I would share or ask you to share based on this cheat sheet is your observations. And those observations aren't like, Bo, you're a jerk. You'd be like, you know what, Bo, the things you did really to the depth of me, like were pained, were like, I observed you saying this thing and I observed this about the situation. And I have this situation. The next thing is your feelings. And maybe I'm like, Bo, I felt in danger. I felt violated. And all this time you are listening. You're listening on how you could be better. You're listening with compassion. And now on my cheat sheet, there's a little spot on the back. It says, notes because you're listening. So whenever I'm offering mediation, I hand these out. So I might need to take a little notes and like make eye contact and listen. Keep in mind, as I'm sharing these things, these are things you can do with yourself. Sometimes the conflict we have is sometimes within ourselves. How can you observe and like talk to yourself and say, hey, I observed this, that I'm facing these things. I'm feeling this. And so between you and Bo, so observations, feelings. So I'm sharing my feelings. And then the third one is needs. I'm like, Bo, you didn't tell me that you were going to be late. And I need people to be on time.
So this cheat sheet is for someone who maybe has trouble expressing themselves. They can like literally look at the cheat sheet and be like, these are all the things that I need to be feeling. And here's how I feel. Because I feel like sometimes what causes conflict is we don't look at the other person's perspective, right? And we are afraid that if we're vulnerable, we're going to get hurt. But I love how you change that with authentic. If you're authentic, you feel more strong. So these tips you're giving right now may be for someone who is. So if somebody who has struggled with expressing their emotions, they could use these steps in order to overcome conflict, correct?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And there are also steps that are mutually agreed upon. So NVC is a little bit of a culture. So for example, maybe someone doesn't know these and you're in conflict with someone. You can just say, hey, this is a thing I read about. And could we in our discussion kind of utilize these and maybe use words that aren't like, you, Bo, are mean, I'm mad at you. But more just talking about ourselves, sharing our depth of our feelings with the agreement that the other person is going to listen. So after I share these observations, feelings, needs, and the fourth one, requests. I could be like, Bo, I really need you to, let's say you're always late. I need you for the work we're doing together. I need you to be on time, Bo. Like, this is what I need. And so then your response is not like responding back and like fighting back with me. Your response is like, David, I heard you observe this and your feelings were this and your needs are this and you're requesting this. Did I hear you right? And I'm like, By that time, most of the time when I'm mediating, by the time it gets to the point where that other person is veering back, the person that shared their feelings is already crying. They're like, I just got heard. Like, I got seen, like it just starts melting. It's like a miracle when someone listens to another person. I mean, I could tell you so many beautiful stories. I love being a mediator because sometimes I'll go into the situations where cops are about to be called between two. There's two guys in the community here in St. Petersburg, and just for confidentiality, I'll just not tell any details. But if any of you guys are watching, man, you guys are awesome. These two guys, like the community was talking about literally calling the cops. They were just like, man, these guys are gonna kill each other. I mean, this is bad. They are angry to the core, so much passion. I sat down and I was like, man, this is the hardest mediation I've ever been in. But after the first guy finally got through his list, and he was just like, I'm just trying to like coaching him through it. Okay, hey, just share your needs. What are your requests? And the other guy's like tearing up already, but he came back and's like, man, I didn't know you're feeling these things, and you said this, and
wow.
Before like he's crying, the other guy, he's mirroring him back, and the other guy's crying. They were hugging, and all the community members are like bug-eyed, like, what just happened? Like we were just about to call the cops on these two, and now they're hugging. Wow. Like this is amazing. And all that happened was these two people stopped in a safe space and listened to one another. Life is crazy. Conflict is everywhere, but we've been handed, sometimes through our childhood, culture, movies, we're handed ways to deal with conflict, but the best way I've seen is the same way I enter all of nature. And I enter a forest and I want to heal what's happening there, is I stop and I listen. And when we stop and listen, then we can hear, and then we can learn. We come as a learner, as someone that's not like, I'm going to figure out this forest because I'm like a permaculture designer. No, we come at it like, I'm a human, and these trees and this nature is amazing. What if we were to enter the relationship with every other human on earth in the same passion and be like, I'm a human. I'm not higher than this person. I'm here to hear, and I'm also here to learn, because maybe there's something deep for me to be a better human right now.
Wow. And
when we enter that, then it's all melting. Everyone melts, everyone's friends, and it just hunky-dory. And it's kind of like the fairy tale of it, but honestly, I've seen a lot more fairy tales in this than I've seen like, oh, this doesn't work out. I've been in a mediation. In the last 6 months, I went to a mediation, and the conflict was between me and another person in the community, amazing person, mediated. And I was like, oh no, man, this is not going good. This is bad. Yeah, I lost my faith in NVC, but man, this mediator worked with us, and we love between humans. And we left with a hug, and with some work to do, some still work. Nothing's always, still there's some things to be worked out. But wow, what brothers can come together and love by listening.
Wow, that is awesome. And I just want to shoot it out there. Some people might not know what a mediator is. And what I found out is a mediator is someone who is not involved in the argument, but can kind of direct the argument to the point where, like, how do you feel? Okay, how do you feel? And they are able to facilitate peace between the two, and hold space for them, which I didn't know before we had you as a mediator. So super cool. And so would your one tip for people who struggle with, being authentic during conversations with conflict would be to stop and listen? Would that be your number one go-to? If you don't remember any of this stuff that you're saying, but you remember one thing, what would it be?
Listen as an equal in all of nature, that we're just not higher than another. We're all equal.
Dropping bombs. Listen as an equal. I love that. And you know what? I love how you say being authentic over vulnerability, because I say being vulnerable all the time. And it's nice to be able to be like, you know what? I am being authentic. And it's more empowering, because people feel that word vulnerable and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. But can I be authentic? Heck yeah, I can be authentic.
Yeah. And sometimes the pathway to authenticity feels vulnerable. Sometimes it is vulnerable. But I just tell people, hey, if you feel perpetually vulnerable with someone, like, oh, I'm in danger, maybe that's not harmony. So we need to step towards harmony, whatever that looks like.
Step towards harmony. I love it. Preach. I love that. What's funny is, so if people, I was saying what's funny is, for some reason, I'm not able to look at people commenting on Facebook Live, but that's okay. If anybody has any comments, we can do this kind of later and in the comments after I post this. But I just had, one more question. So if people want to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram, but I'm just going to give you a little warning about that. I have no desire to have fans. I want to make friends, not fans. And so people can follow me, but I'll ask you, hey, what's up, yo? Like, what are you interested in? And like, what's your name? I would rather have a smaller number. I believe we're going to change the world by relationships, not hierarchy. Like, oh, David, you know it all. You sounded so nice. No, I'm an equal. And so if you kind of flatter me at all, then I'll probably kind of like not defriend you, but kind of like maybe not answer as much. And I'll probably share with you some of the things I struggle with until we can kind of be equal. So, so that's my goal. You can do that. But also, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, this is how I enjoy people getting to know me. I enjoy people getting to know me through meeting where I'm teaching or sharing a healing circle. Come join these circles. The Florida Permaculture Convergence is coming up in November. You can look at my Facebook page. It's all over that. So David Ahlgren. Ahlgren is spelled Ahlgren. And it's pronounced Ahlgren like a smile.
I tagged you in a comment. So what is that? The permaculture thing you're talking about? What is it called?
The Florida Permaculture Convergence is just basically humans coming together and learning from nature. I'll be there. There are piles of other amazing humans that are going to be there. We come together once a year to just come together and create community, good food, good music, good community, good teachers from all over the state. Also, if you're not in Florida, or don't want to travel here, the Northwest Permaculture Convergence will be having our convergence also. And I will be teaching at that one in Oregon. And I believe that is in October. So.
Okay. Right on. That is awesome. Thank you so much. And, usually we'd open up for questions, but for some reason, the comments aren't coming through. But
that's all right.
If people have comments, they could just comment down below when I post this video and reach out to you on Facebook. Also, being emotional and authentic is something that has changed my life to the point where growing up a man, I thought that I wasn't allowed to have emotions and especially express emotions. But I found that honestly, vulnerability or authenticity is my superpower, to where like if you are able to be authentic, you never lose. You literally never lose. When you say what's on your mind and how you feel in a way that is what your feelings are, not projecting that somebody else is wrong for doing something else, you will always win. So, so if anybody has any questions about, trying to be more authentic, either contact me or contact David, because I feel really comfortable expressing my emotions in front of you. And I've just been able to create a superpower within myself, and everybody has it. Everybody has it.
Yes. Awesome. Man, Bo, you're awesome. I love Bo. Like the moment I met him, it's kind of like, I don't know, I heard a little bromance, like I really admire your work and your energy when we're entering a space together. And I feel like you create a non-hierarchical bond between people, and you energize people to smile and enjoy the elements of life. What you do between humans is one of the things I love doing between humans and nature. You're the human like exhilarator, and I am like the human and walking in harmony with nature exhilarator is what I like to do. And I'm just mirroring what I see around. And Bo, you mirror the joy that others share with you. And thank you.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you for that, David. That really means a lot coming from you. And thank you for your time here and for blessing everybody with the things that you've learned, and just knowing that we're all equals. I love that. I love that. So get out there and be authentic, my friends.
Thank you.